And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry.
Bill Maher is back at it, taking aim at the so-called woke arguments, and this time, Whoopi Goldberg is in his sights. To be fair, Goldberg has given Maher plenty of material with her controversial comments since 2022. Maher's critique of her has been nothing short of surgical, dismantling her arguments with precision that had Whoopi dodging backlash like a character in a slapstick comedy. So, what did Goldberg say this time that set Maher off? And how did his fiery response leave the woke crowd scrambling? Stick around, we've got the full story, and trust us, this ride is anything but smooth.
And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Whoopi. Goldberg is back in the spotlight, and this time, she's facing some serious pushback. After Bill Maher shredded Sunny Hostin in our last video, the View crew isn't letting that slide quietly. Sunny, clearly rattled by Maher's remarks, called in the big guns, Whoopi herself. And make no mistake, Goldberg came in swinging, ready to throw down like a reality show contestant nobody expected. This showdown, it's about to get real.
Let's tear down statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no. It's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are stupid.
Whoopi Goldberg is at it again, reaching for the woke playbook when her argument starts sinking. Bill Maher clearly pointed out that black Americans want better jobs, a strong economy, and accountable policing. But Whoopi, instead of addressing that, rambles about supporting a former prosecutor's working-class initiatives. It makes zero sense, like throwing darts with no aim. Maher didn't let it slide, calling her out for the confusion.
All of the criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time and, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now.
Bill Maher pointed out that Whoopi's ideas seem to lack any real logic, a flaw that's sadly become all too familiar on The View. The show has turned into a political talk show train wreck. Awkward to watch, but strangely captivating. Known for its divisive and often questionable opinions, The View has taken things up a notch with Sunny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg's outrageous comments. Remember when Charlemagne Thagod appeared as a guest? You could practically see him wondering if he'd stepped into an alternate reality.
I'm gonna stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed his mind.
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
No, I'm gonna tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over.
Here's the lowdown. President Joe Biden, who often claims that no one is above the law, just pardoned his son, Hunter Biden, after he was convicted on corruption-related charges. Talk about family values, right? This move has sparked plenty of criticism. How can you preach that no one is above the law when your own son gets a pass? It's like justice conveniently turns a blind eye when it comes to the Bidens. Hunter's actions were as obvious as a toddler covered in cookie crumbs, but accountability seems to have taken a back seat. That's where Charlemagne stepped in. If the woke crowd insists that no one is exempt from the law, they need to stick to those principles. Simple, right? Well, Whoopi had a very different perspective.
This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law. Not even the President of the United States.
And there it is. Another facepalm moment from Whoopi Goldberg, the queen of cringe. This time, she claimed that President Biden wasn't lying when he said no one is above the law. Seriously, Whoopi, it's hard to ignore the mountain of evidence. Videos, audio recordings, and probably even ancient cave drawings, proving that Biden made that exact claim. Yet here she is, defending the indefensible.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bull.
Watching Whoopi Goldberg spin a blatant falsehood is like watching someone insist the sky isn't blue while standing under a clear, cloudless sky. At this point, her mental gymnastics could earn her an Olympic gold medal, if only she didn't trip over her own logic. You could practically see the disbelief on Charlemagne's face as he tried to process her comments. But she didn't stop there. Whoopi went on to suggest that maybe President Biden changed his stance because he was tired of everyone surpassing him. Charlemagne was left completely speechless, stunned by her outlandish claims.
Was it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course, you don't
but
follow
I'm
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
The problem with the so-called woke mob, they only call out wrongdoing when the offender isn't one of their own. But when the culprit is part of their inner circle, the outrage quickly fades into weak defenses, or, even better, selective amnesia. Whoopi and her crew managed to dodge accountability with Charlemagne's presence on the show, but when Bill Maher caught wind of their antics, he wasn't having it. He stepped in, said, "Hold my beer," and delivered one of the sharpest verbal takedowns we've seen in a while.
Above any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied.
Bill Maher hit the nail on the head. The woke mob likes to claim they're the ultimate moral authority, but their double standards are impossible to ignore. Take Hunter Biden. Guilty, yet because his father's in office, he walks free. If it were anyone else, the mob would demand punishment, but when it's one of their own, justice takes a back seat. It's pure hypocrisy, and Maher rightly called it out. The real question is, how much longer will Americans tolerate this? It's not just about Hunter, it's about a system that favors the powerful. Maher's takedown was a wake-up call for anyone still believing in fairness. And it gets more interesting. Maher also pointed out how the woke mob gets support from mainstream media.
Democrats run for office as if the voters don't live here, as if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office, but they do. But a poll last year asked, if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives. It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey.
The media did everything they could to downplay the Hunter Biden scandal, pulling out all the stops to protect President Biden and undermine Trump's re-election. Major outlets dismissed the story as Russian disinformation, despite mounting evidence, and silenced anyone who disagreed. Whoopi Goldberg eagerly joined the chorus, dismissing the allegations on The View. But Maher wasn't having it. He called her out for defending the indefensible instead of pursuing the truth, systematically dismantling her excuses and exposing the blatant hypocrisy for all to see.
Said there's a coalition of Trump voters, people who really like him. They certainly are those. And then there's people who don't necessarily like him that much, but they still think he's less crazy than stuff that strikes them as aggressively anti-common sense.
Bill Maher hit the nail on the head. The ladies of The View, especially Whoopi Goldberg, aren't just woke. They're like a pack of relentless sharks, ready to tear apart anyone who doesn't fit their ideological mold. Their approach to debate isn't about finding truth or having meaningful discussions. It's about silencing opposition and forcing their worldview onto others with smug grins and biting sarcasm. Whoopi, in particular, has perfected the art of dismissing opposing views with a wave, as if other opinions aren't even worth considering. But Maher wasn't intimidated. He boldly called them out, exposing their bullying tactics disguised as activism. It's no wonder he's become a thorn in their side, continuously highlighting their hypocrisy for an audience tired of biased narratives. Maher's takedowns are like a breath of fresh air, cutting through a room full of stale, repetitive arguments.
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Maher argues that the woke mob needs to stop clutching their pearls over Trump's victory and face reality. He didn't steal the election or cheat his way to the win. He earned it because millions of Americans connected with his message, no matter how much it upset the progressive left. Instead of blaming Russia, racism, or whatever new scapegoat is trending on Twitter, it might be time to accept that democracy sometimes means the other side wins. It's not a malfunction, it's how the system is supposed to work. The sooner they stop playing the victim and start planning for the future, the better their chances will be in 2028 or 2032.
This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law. Not even the President of the United States.
Bill Maher nails it again. Not everyone who voted for Trump is out there organizing MAGA rallies or pledging loyalty to golden statues. Many people just held their noses and voted for him because they were fed up with the Democrats' preachy tone and the woke mob's disdain for common sense. Voters didn't support Trump for his tweets or his rough image. They did it because the alternative felt like enduring a lecture from a self-righteous vegan at a BBQ. If the left wants to win, it's time to stop pushing every fringe idea from the activist playbook and start focusing on what actually resonates with the average American. Original clip. Original clip, it's pure comedy gold. Bill Maher didn't just drive the final nail into Whoopi Goldberg's coffin, he practically built the whole thing while laughing at the absurdity. Whoopi, the self-proclaimed high priestess of the woke movement, made the mistake of challenging Maher for the audacity to think independently. Big miscalculation on her part. Maher's response was classic Bill, sharp, unfiltered, and hilariously on point. He pointed out the irony of The View, a show that prides itself on being a platform for diverse opinions, criticizing him for having a perspective she didn't like. Isn't it funny? A group that claims to champion tolerance only seems to tolerate their own views. Maher wasn't having any of it. He exposed the hypocrisy of the woke echo chamber, where real critical thinking is drowned out by tribal loyalty, and dissent is treated like heresy. Watching Ma dismantle their flimsy arguments was like seeing Picasso paint a masterpiece, if the brushstrokes were sarcasm and logic.